Hello, just bear with me. I'm Caroline Whitehorn, I'm the Stonehenge Osteopath. I'm just taking some time to sort myself out and let people get into the site. So hopefully you can hear me, hopefully you can see me. I'm not very tech savvy, I'm quite reliant on my brother for this, thank you Stuart. So bear with me. What you will need if you're listening now is a stable surface like kitchen worktop, or a good quality chair, dining room chair, something like this, because we're going to do a bit of balance work, a bit of mobility, a bit of strength training and some stretches. So you need to have something you trust that you can rely on if you need your balance. So stable surface, worktop or chair, bit of floor space because you're going to do a little bit on the floor if you're happy to get on and off the floor. If not, some of the stretches I will try to do on the chair. Actually, to be honest, the stretches should be fine. There's not many on the floor, so that should be all right. But some of the exercises you could do on the bed if you would prefer, which may not be convenient for you to do this minute, depending on where you're watching. So, stable work surface, stable chair, for your balance bits and some of the straight stuff. So I've been a bit quiet the last few weeks, so I thought with everybody stuck at home, some people may not be quite doing the usual routines and activities they would ordinarily do. So I've put together a couple of things to include some mobility to get things moving a little bit, some strength training to try and maintain some muscle tone, some stretches to try and stretch you out, make you feel a bit more comfortable, and some balance. Because the big thing for older people, who I'm aiming at actually, is to maintain your balance and prevent any injuries from falls or any instability problems. This is not a rehabilitation program from injuries. None of these exercises should cause you pain. They shouldn't cause you any new symptoms. If you find something aggravates a movement we're doing aggravates symptoms that you already have or creates a new symptom, then maybe stop. You can contact me, I'll give you the email address at the end, and we might be able to sort something out for a telephone call or a video call or something, and we can have a chat. But none of these activities should cause you any pain, discomfort, or any new symptoms. So if that happens, stop, slow down what you're doing. Try it gently, see if it still is a problem. Maybe it's the technique you're doing, but we can go into that. So that's it for the minute. I think let's get started. This is assuming you are generally well. You can do some of the range of movements. Some you may struggle with a little bit, but do what you can. Let me know how you get on and let's get started. So we're going to start off with some general mobility. So all I want you to do start with is stand nice and tall, head up, shoulders back a little bit, and you're just going to be shrugging your shoulders. So just raising shoulders up. So hopefully none of these exercises should be particularly uncomfortable, and hopefully you'll feel a little bit more mobile at the end of it. So you're going to circle your shoulders back, so nice big range of movement. You might hear a bit of grinding and popping. As long as that's not painful, that's quite normal. So we're just working on the upper body. Then we're going to work through your neck, so you're just going to turn your head. Some things may feel a bit stiff and tight. Just work up to the level at which you're comfortable. So if it hurts too much going too far right, just stop where you start to think, well, that's going to be uncomfortable. So it may be to start off with your range of movement might not be huge. So we're just turning head slowly left and right. Just doing a couple of repetitions. Then we're going to do some head circles, so looking down, rolling your head across the front of your body. And we're going to do some side bends. So what I'm going to do is just get you to tilt your body left and right, okay? So standing nice and tall, feet square, slide your hand down the side of your leg towards your knee. So if I'm stood side on, there's a sheet of glass in front of you, a sheet of glass behind you. You don't bend forward, standing nice and tall, just running your hands slowly, calmly down the side of your leg. So I hope you've all been enjoying the sunny day today. So next thing, we're going to do what I call the snow globe. So imagine your fingertips are covered in paint. You're stood in a big glass ball. I'm sure you know what a snow globe is. You are the thing in the middle with the snow falling down on you. You are going to cover that glass ball with paint. This is a nice movement to do if you've been sat for a long time, or you've been driving, not that we're driving very far at the moment, but if you're sat watching films or reading books and you've been sort of sat in that kind of scrunched forward. So just taking your arm to cover that whole surface and you're watching your hand. So some people may find doing over the head is a bit uncomfortable. It may hurt through the top of the shoulder, may hurt a little bit nearer the neck. If that's a problem, take it to where you're comfortable, so it may only be 90 degrees, and just make that your range of movement. But try and do the full range that you do have, because that will ensure that the joint gets covered in fluid, moves easy, frees up the back a little bit, because as you can see, my thoracic spine is being moved by my arm. And we're going to do that both sides. So if you can't do over 90 degrees, just do the level at which you're comfortable, painting that whole surface. If you can do holes above your arm, above your shoulder, then do that. So, right, we're going to just walk a little bit on the spot, just a couple of seconds, because we're going to work a little bit on strength training. So a lot of the strength stuff is going to be actually about the hips and the pelvis, but I will do a little bit of upper body just to balance you out a little bit. So this is working on, the strength works with the balance and trying to ensure that you're stable, comfortable, sure-footed and less likely to have a fall. So this is where we need the kitchen worktop. So, depending on how strong you're feeling, you're going to do a press up against the kitchen worktop. So you might not be able to see very well at that angle, but if you want it quite easy, you're going to just stand quite close to the worktop and push yourself away. The stronger and fitter you are, the further away from the worktop you can stand. When you're doing this movement, you want a little bit of tension in your lower abs, so that you're bracing yourself and keeping your body in a straight line. So this is just a press up, but against a worktop. Okay, so you'd aim to do about 10, working up towards 15, 20 as you make progress. So we'll do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then we're going to do some sit to stands, which are the equivalent of squats. I'm just going to demonstrate first. So this is where you want your good dining room chair. So you're going to have your bottom perched near the edge, but not too close to the edge. Your feet square on the floor, bent under the knees, about 90 degrees. Now, ideally, get your hands up and out the way so you're not using your hands to drive yourself up. So I don't want this. What we're aiming for is hands up and out the way. So I'm going to just do a couple to show you, and then we'll do 10 repetitions. So you're just standing up, and as you do, tighten your bottom, hold your lower pelvis. So you're getting to start working your core muscles. You've probably heard those a lot. So just standing, tight bottom, lower abs. Okay? So we're going to do 10 repetitions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is great for strengthening your thighs, your bottom and your lower part of your pelvis. I think that's 10. I've lost count there. If you need to use your hands to do that, do use your hands, but try as much as you can to not use your hands when you're getting out of chairs and off the sofa, if you can. So, second time going back to the worktop. So this is for leg abduction. I'm going to show you first. Again, we would aim to do 10 to 20 of these, depending on your strength and confidence. We're just going to do a couple first. Think ballerina. So you're using this as your bar. Take your weight onto one foot and you're going to lift your leg to the side and behind you. So your body stays upright, you're not doing this, you're lifting the leg to the side, your body stays up tall. So you should feel it in your buttock. And you're holding your lower abs tight. Okay? So we're going to do 10 of those on each side. So lifting out to the back. Again, tight through your bottom. Stood nice and tall. I think that's 5. You have to tell me if I'm miscounting because I'm talking and counting in my head. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So you may feel a little bit of a burn, a little bit of discomfort. This is really good for strengthening your lateral hips, which is often, us women especially, as we get over sort of 45 into our 50s, lateral hip pain becomes a bit of an issue, and often that's to do with weakness around this whole area. So this is a good exercise for strengthening, maintaining strength in that area. So going to the other side, we're going to do 10 approximately, depending on my counting. So again, out to the side, weight onto your other leg, bringing your foot slightly behind you. I think that's 5. You can hear, I understand it's probably quite hard work. I'm getting breathless while talking to you and doing the activity. I think that's 8, 9, 10. So you may feel that a little bit, so you might want to just walk on the spot, let the blood get going around the body, clear the system. Whew, it's warm in here. So we're going to go onto the floor next. Make sure you've got a bit of space. This is where I have a bit of issue because I'm get a bit out of the way, length of the camera. So if I disappear, I apologise, I'll try and check. So lying flat on your back, we're going to lift one leg straight in the air. So I'm going to demonstrate a couple first and then we'll do 10 on each leg. So lifting your leg, come back down. Lifting your leg completely straight, no bend at the knee, back down. When you do this, there's 2 ways of doing this, one that's slightly harder, one that's slightly easier. Easier is take your foot up, rest it on the floor and lift again. If you want to go a bit harder, don't put your foot on the floor, just let it hover and make it more of a fluid movement. So when you're doing this exercise, you need a little bit of tension through your lower abs, a little bit of flatness through your back, so you're holding your body onto the floor. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, this is good for leg strength, especially if you're getting a bit of niggles around your knee, little aches and pains around the front of the knee. This is quite a good activity for building up thigh and knee strength. 8, 9, 10. So change legs. I might change position so that if I've missed anything going that way, you might see a bit more going this way. So I'll do my right leg. Again, so 2 ways. You can lift up and rest your leg down, or lift up and keep that movement going without completely putting your foot down on the floor. So that's 3. Make sure your low back is in contact with the floor and your lower abs are slightly tight. I think that's 6. So you might start feeling a bit uncomfortable in the thigh, up around the top. That's great. You want a little bit of discomfort but not excruciating pain. I think that's 10. Apologies for my miscounting. I'm not very good at this, doing 2 things at once. Whew. So we've done 4 strength exercises, bit of upper body, a lot around the hips and the pelvis and the legs. We're going to do 2 more, one for the back and one for your core stability. So one for your back is called Prone Superman. You may have seen this a few times, especially if you've been to see me. So you want your arms resting out in front of you. I don't know if you can see. I might have to just move the camera a little bit, sorry. Don't get travel sick. So arms out, legs out behind you, opposite arm to opposite leg, like this. So if you can see my opposite leg lifting at the same time. So my tummy and my hips are in contact with the floor the whole time, and so is my chest, but my arms and my legs are lifting. If it's a bit much to lift your legs and your arms, just do arms at separate times and don't lift your legs. It's all still going to work those upper back muscles. So we're going to do 5 all the way round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's working back and upper back and lower back. Finally, for strength training, we're going to move on to a bridge. So lie flat on your back, bottom on the floor, knees in line with your hips. You're going to boost your hips up towards the ceiling. Feet are flat on the floor, so your hands, don't have your hands up here or resting on your legs, have them next to you. So if you watch, you're lifting your hips up, tight bottom, tight lower abs. Hold for a couple of breaths and then roll your spine down. And then to lift up again, tight bottom and roll back up. This exercise actually isn't so much about numbers or quantity, it's more about quality. So it's about having good technique and good balance. Because as you progress, there's different ways we can make this harder, which we'll hopefully visit over the next few issues. Okay, so that's strength training. So I'm just going to do some stretches. This is just to stretch out those muscles we've just been working. Again, none of this should be causing you any pain. You might feel like you're working some muscle groups that maybe you've had a bit of a break for a couple of weeks, but let's get them working, because the idea is to keep you in good condition, keep you mobile, so that when all this is over, we can get back out there and you haven't deteriorated or lost any of your fitness that you've had over the years. So lie on your back. You're just going to do a gentle knee hug, and that will stretch out the low back and your gluteal muscles, which you've just been working quite hard. If you've got the space and you're on a double bed or plenty of room on the floor, just let your knees drop to the side, and that will stretch out the side of the back. Bring your knees up, change side. Enjoy the lying down for a moment, because if you've been doing what I've just been doing, then you feel like you've earned it. Again, just bring your knees up, stretch it all out. None of this should cause you any pain. It should almost feel quite a comforting move to do. So that's your stretch for your back. We're going to do a sitting gluteal stretch. So get your chair. This needs to be done on a dining room chair, not your sofa ideally. So you're going to put your opposite foot on your opposite knee. So sitting nice and tall, just going to hug your knee towards your opposite shoulder, and you'll feel a slight stretch in your bottom or running into the thigh. So if I'm sat side on, you're turning into that knee. And repeat that both sides. So all these stretches you're going to hold for 15-20 seconds. Some of them it's quite nice to hold for 30 seconds. Knee hugs are quite nice for that. So side on again, opposite knee, opposite ankle onto opposite knee, turning. So hopefully at the end you'll give me some feedback. If I was too fast, went through things too quickly, I want to hear. This is the first time I've done this, so any information's useful. So third stretch, you may want a cushion if you can tolerate going down onto your knee. So we're going to stretch out the front of the hip. So in this case I'm stretching my left hip. If being on the floor is too much, or you don't like your knee on the floor, then bring your good old chair back. Rest your shin on the chair and take a step away from the chair. So you should feel it a little bit through the front of the hip. You can change direction a little bit. You may have to play with it a little bit. People are slightly different. Everybody's a bit different to where you feel the tightness. Okay, so you do that both sides. Okay, so again, holding for 15 to 20 seconds, just give the body a chance to respond to what you're doing. I'm just going to reorientate the camera, sorry, movement everywhere. So now I'm going to stretch out your upper chest. So standing nice and tall, feet square, put your hands either on your bottom and push your elbows together, or if you can tolerate it, link your hands together behind you and push your hands away. You should feel it stretch across the front of the shoulders, front of the chest. And we're just going to stretch the neck, so just side bend your head, let your chin, your nose roll forward, holding those for about 15-20 seconds. Again, none of this should be causing you any pain into your hands. There should be nothing going down the arms. It should just feel a bit tight in the neck, into the top of the shoulder. Come back upright, side bend, so you should feel it here. Nothing coming into the arms, nothing going down the back. Let your nose drop forward. Okay, so now that should make you feel a bit freer. So lastly, we're just going to do a couple of balance exercises. A lot of what you've done already with the strength training will help your balance, but this is just a bit more specific that you could do while you're waiting for the kettle to boil or cleaning your teeth. Just a couple of dead minutes through the day where you're not really doing anything. Just stand on your one leg. So if I'm stood looking at you, if you need the chair, have a chair beside you or worktop. You can use the back of the chair for just fingertip balance. Stand on one leg. To start with, if you need it, rest your other foot, the toe, on the floor. So you are standing on one leg, but there's a bit of shared balance. If you feel more confident, then lift that foot up. You can still use your fingertip balance, but you may not leave your hand there all the time. You may just have it there for those wobbly moments. So when you're doing this, just check, stand tall, find your balance. Do it on both sides. So to start with, you may want to just have your foot rested, standing on one leg. Make sure, if you can, that your hips are level. Try not to let that happen. Stay nice and square. So you can lift your foot up if you're feeling confident. Hands off the chair if you need to. That's lovely. So if you're able to do that and comfortable, anything where you're improving your balance is excellent, especially as we get older. As we get into our late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and on, our muscle strength and balance can deteriorate really quickly, especially if we're not doing all the normal activities you would ordinarily do. Where in this lockdown situation, we're just being limited of what we're able to do, and you're probably moving less than you normally would do. So these sort of exercises are very good for helping maintain what you've already got. If you have any further questions or want to contact me about anything that you're concerned about, please email me at info@stonehengeosteopath.co.uk. And if you get a chance and you liked what I did, please like my page. I would appreciate it. I'm looking to do this 3 times a week. So 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, and then 5 o'clock on a Saturday. This may change because I'm back to work with the NHS next week on odd days. So I will keep you updated and try and be as consistent as I can. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.